Okay, well, good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from, everyone. And thank you for dropping into our annual Know Before You Go session to um, talk about the SEMC 2024 annual meeting. And before we get started, I just want to say to keep a good thought for all of our colleagues who are in Florida right now, and North Carolina and Tennessee and upstate of South Carolina and Virginia and Georgia and every place else that has been impacted by severe weather over the last few weeks. Lot of lot of recovery ahead for a lot of our region. So we are keeping an eye on everything. I reach out as I can to all of the directors and people I know who are leading organizations in hurricane impacted areas, and recovery continues. I know Florida's battening down the hatches, and we will continue to share information and resources as we can. And I also encourage all of you to check in with your channels, and anything that you hear, if you can share it with SEMC. It's been interesting watching all of the information populate throughout the networks and hopefully getting to the people that need it the most. All right, that being said, we are still planning for our annual meeting, SEMC 2024 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and our staff and our event teams, our local teams are really excited to welcome all of our attendees. We're looking to be about a little, probably over 500 this year, who will be gathering with us in just a few weeks. So before we get started, I can't see everyone who's on this call, but I just wanted to introduce our SEMC staff. I'll see who might be here from our other teams. But if you don't know me already, my name is Zinnia Willits, and I am the executive director of the Southeastern Museums Conference. Just as a point of housekeeping, since we have so many on the call, if everyone could just mute their microphones, or else I will mute them for you. We'd love to hear everyone else's office conversations. I know it's always interesting, but in the interest of time, we'll just keep going forward. So I've been in this role for about 4.5 years now. And prior to that, I worked at the Gibbs Museum of Art in Charleston, South Carolina. So I always like to tell people who don't know me or haven't met me yet that I am a museum person. I come from a long background of working in museums, and the Southeastern Museums Conference has always been really important to me in terms of my career trajectory and professional development. And the annual meeting is something that I always very much looked forward to. It's a little bit different being on the administrative side of event planning, especially during hurricane season, but we are nimble and will continue to keep moving forward and are really excited to welcome you all to Baton Rouge. So with that, Heather, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Heather Nowak. I am the program administrator for the Southeastern Museums Conference. Like Xenia, I have over 10 plus years in museum education and leadership programming. So again, SEMC was extremely important in my career trajectory as well. And annual meeting was always such a fun time to look forward to in advancing professional development and just connecting and networking. So it's always been near and dear to my heart. So we look forward to sharing this annual meeting with you in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Heather. And Carla, I see you.
I made it. Hello, everyone. My name is Carla Phillips. I am the membership and communications manager for SEMC. So I do the social media and I get to work with all of you guys, all the members. So I'm always really excited to attend the conference because that's the opportunity that I get to actually meet face to face with everybody. Because usually I'm just emailing and talking to people on the phone. So it's always great to put a face with the name, and you'll see me at registration.
Thanks, Carla. And yeah, I'll ask you to mute because Carla and I are actually, our offices are We're both at the Atlanta History Center today. So just for background noise. Is there anyone here, and I can't see the whole list, from Hutchinson Design Group? Did anyone make it on? Maybe not. They may come in later. But just so everybody knows, SEMC works with an organization called Hutchinson Design Group. They are our event team. They are out of the Washington, D.C. area, and they have been helping us to plan the conference and deal with all of the on-site logistics for the last 4 or 5 years. So in addition to Carla and Heather and I, you will see the Hutchinson Design Group team members throughout our conference in Baton Rouge. They will be the ones in the session rooms helping to set up all of the technology, helping people get onto the buses and organizing the logistics of the transportation. So we'll see if anyone's able to come on, but I always just like to have them here as well. Is there anybody with us who is on the local team in Baton Rouge? Sarah, I see you. You want to just introduce?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Knowles. I'm with Visit Baton Rouge, the local tourism office here in our capital city, and we are very, very much looking forward to hosting you all in Baton Rouge. I actually left a meeting this morning with our downtown developmental district, and a few of our museums were in attendance, and they spoke on inviting you guys in, and they spoke to all of our local businesses and restaurants and let them know to expect you guys, and we're happy to have you here. So looking forward to it.
Thanks. Thanks, Sarah, for coming. And I do see a few other individuals on here from various Baton Rouge museums who are hosting events. So perhaps when we go over some of the event details, if you have anything additional you want to add, that would be great. But I will say before, and I have a PowerPoint just to kind of keep us moving through and make sure that I capture all of the information that you might be looking for. We've been really lucky to work with great teams in Baton Rouge. All of the museums that are hosting the events have been terrific partners and are looking forward to welcoming all of you. Visit Baton Rouge has been very supportive. Jenny, I see you from the Louisiana Association of Museums, has also been a wonderful partner for us, and including the Louisiana Endowment for the Humanities. So it's been a really nice synergy between the SEMC staff and our local teams, and we're just excited to welcome everyone. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Okay, so we've done the SEMC staff and team introductions. So just a little bit about our conference is in 2 weeks, and it's coming up fast. So a few things that we like to go over before the conference is what can you be doing now to prepare for the annual meeting, whether it's your first annual meeting, and we love first timers, or whether you've been with us many times. Each one is just a little bit different. So one of the things, those of you who have been to an annual meeting in the last few years, we use a conference app called Feedloop. Right now, you can go onto the Feedloop website. There's a link on that through the SEMC website, and that shows you the entire program. But this conference app called Feedloop Go is going to be really helpful to you before the conference and during the conference. I think that from what I've heard, it will be populated with all of the information by next week, but you can go ahead and download it now on your phones or your tablets. And Feedloop Go during the conference is going to have all sorts of daily announcements, any slight schedule changes, and there will be many other ways to access this information as well. But for those of us who are very tied to our phones and used to them telling us what to do, Feedloop is going to be a great way to schedule your time, because what you'll be able to do through the app is see all of the different sessions that are in a particular time block. And I believe you can add a little, heart saying, I'm going to go to these, and just helps you to plan. So I would encourage you to look at that app prior to Baton Rouge. Until that is fully ready with all of the SEMC 2024 information, you can go to the website right now. Maybe Heather or Carla could drop that link into the chat with the full schedule. And one of the things that I'm really proud of our teams is we've had the full schedule available with all of the sessions and all of the speakers for the last few months. So you really get an idea of what is happening during each time of the day and can begin to think how you want to schedule your time. We also just added a schedule at a glance to the website. Sometimes that's easier to see it all, just the name and title of the session. And then if you want to do a deeper dive about who is speaking and what exactly the session is about, you can go into the website. So if you haven't seen it before, this is what it looks like, the feed loop. So you can go by day. So on Monday, you can just scroll through, see when conference registration is going to open, what the sessions are, who the speakers are, all that good stuff. When there's a exhibit hall coffee break and when snacks might be available. So another thing that you can be doing now, those of you who are speaking, I'm not sure how we've sent out all of the graphics. I know we've put a lot of them on social media, but Heather's going to put a link in the chat to all of these conference graphics. And it's going to be a folder that looks like this. And they all look, and I'm attending. These are things that you can share on your social media channels if you want to. And it's just a good way to tell your peers, your network, that you'll be at SEMC. If you're an exhibitor, we have a graphic that says I'm an exhibitor. If you're a speaker, there's an I'm a speaker. And it's fun for me to see all of these graphics populate Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and it's just an additional way to get people excited and to know that you'll be there and you can start your networking even now. Another thing I encourage you to do is to learn more about Baton Rouge if you have time in the next few weeks. This Visit Baton Rouge is a terrific webpage that gives you all sorts of information about restaurants and different neighborhoods and different attractions beyond what you might see at the conference. On that same site, it'll talk to you about if you're not staying at the conference hotel, maybe you're staying somewhere else. You can see all sorts of maps and proximity. Baton Rouge weather. I just obviously am keeping a close eye on the weather everywhere right now, but I just looked it up for the next 10 days or so. It says it's going to be sunny and in the mid 80s. So something to think about as you're planning your travel. That being said, inside of conference hotels can usually be chilly. So we always tell people to dress in layers or make sure that when you come down for conference sessions in the hotel, have a sweater with you or something. We work each year with the hotels on trying to regulate the temperature, but they tend to go lower than higher. So keep moving on here. So when you are arriving in Baton Rouge, I know we're going to be flying, driving, all the things. If you are coming through the airport is 7 miles from downtown Baton Rouge. You can see, I think, the cityscape from the airport. So it's not a really long ride. We took Ubers when we were there for the mid-year meeting, and I remember them being around $20 or so for ride shares from the airport. But I would also encourage you to go onto the airport website and see what else is available. Now, one of the really cool features this year is that the Hilton, which is our conference hotel, the Hilton Baton Rouge, if you're not staying there and if you still need to make reservations, we are full at the Hilton, but there are 2 overflow hotels that are right across the street. So this is a very walkable city conference. And the Hilton actually has a shuttle. It's a free shuttle. You need to call the number. We'll put the number on the website, but it's just the general number of the Hilton. And you can call them and say, hey, I'm here at the airport. I'm staying at the Hilton, and they will bring the shuttle. Now, they say to allow about 10 minutes for the shuttle to get from the hotel to the airport, you know, the reality of that, it may be a little bit longer. They can take 8 people at a time. We've tried to give them general timeframes when we think that people will be arriving en masse, but that is one of your options. One of the situations that I was at another conference in a similar size city, and there seemed to be some surge pricing happening with the ride shares when we were all arriving at the same time. So that's something to keep in mind. But there's also good old-fashioned taxis that you can take as well that will be at the hotel. So again, it's not a very far distance from the hotel to downtown Baton Rouge, and there are a couple different options available. If you are driving, there is valet parking at the Hilton. It's $33 a day, which is pretty steep, but that's what it is. Now, however, there are self-park lots around the Hilton, like literally across the street. There's a good parking app. It's called like Parkopedia or something. But if you just Google parking Hilton Baton Rouge, you can see all of the different options. But the self-park lot, which I parked at the last time we were there, I think it's about $14 a day. So that's just another option. It's literally right across the street. Some of the other things at the Hilton is a lovely hotel. It's actually a historic hotel. It used to be called the Heidelberg, and was renovated around 2016, if I remember correctly. There's a long history to it, an interesting history to it. So that's some just fun research you can do on your own. All of our the majority of our conference sessions will be at the Hilton. This is our host hotel this year. We've pretty much taken it over as SEMC, which I think that's a good thing. You know, sometimes we've been at bigger hotels and conference spaces, and there's like multiple conferences going on. Anyone who was at the Galt House last year knows exactly what I'm talking about. I think we're kind of going to be it at the Hilton. It's going to be all just museum people takeover. So we're really excited about that. The food options at the Hilton are last year, the Galt House had like 4 different restaurants and all sorts. Not as many at the Hilton, but there are still places to eat. They do offer room service. They have a lovely restaurant called the Kingfish Bar and Grill. And then they have a very lobby bar, which I will show in a little bit, that's open until midnight each night. And I think that they do small plates of food. So we'll talk a little bit more about food coming up. I think I will let Carla and or Heather maybe jump in on this part about registration, whatever you guys plan.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about registration. So Heather and I will be at the registration desk, and I'm sure Zydia will, when she shows the rooms and everything, she'll show where that is. But registration is going to be open on Sunday, October 20th from 1 to 4:30. On Monday, October 21st, registration will be open from 8:30 to 4:30. On Tuesday, October 22nd, it'll be open 8:30 to 4:30 again. And then on Wednesday, the last day of the conference, on the 23rd, it'll be open from 9 to 12:30. And at registration, this is where you will come to get your tote bag, you'll get your name badge. We're going to have a lot of really fun stuff, ribbons and things that you can pick up at the registration area. This is also the place where if you have any questions about anything in the conference, that'll be the hub that you'll want to come to, and we'll have all the information that you need as far as practically anything. We will just know that you can come to the registration and get your questions answered. And then some of you, I'm not sure if any of my volunteers are on the call, but we're going to be stuffing the tote bags on Sunday. And so I'll be sending a separate email out to all of the volunteers who are going to be helping with that, just to give you the information about where to go. But I don't know, Heather, do you want to jump in and add anything else about registration?
Sure. We will have Wi-Fi available. So if you need the code to log in, simply, again, come to the registration area. We'll have that login information for you. We'll also have QR codes that's going to take you to, registration lists. We'll have the conference app link. We'll have, maps of the meeting spaces. We'll have the conference message board. And then speaking of a little bit of the dining options, we will have a link to a QR code that's going to take you to all of the surrounding restaurants for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and beyond. So if you need any information as far as where to go to eat, we'll have links available for that. All of these within walking distance, with hours of operation, and again, everything that you need to know. If you are taking any sort of tours or anything like that, everything is going to leave out of the Hilton lobby area, so it'll be easy to find buses if you're going on a tour. Otherwise, do you want to cover luncheons? If you're attending a luncheon, we will have a check-in sheet. So when you check in, we'll check off your name. If you have any dietary restrictions, just let the person who is checking you in know, and you'll be given a voucher for an alternative meal. So we will have, again, everything that you need to know at the registration area, which will be in the Academy meeting room, and we will be there all 4 days. So find us there.
And then just one more thing about the luncheons. If you think you want to attend a luncheon, we're not going to be selling tickets on site. So if you think that you want to go to a luncheon, you should go ahead and purchase your ticket right now for that, because we will not be able to accommodate people day of, just because we have to let the hotel know how many meals we're going to need, and it just gets a little bit complicated. So, and you can visit our website. There's another link where you can add additional luncheons, tours, things like that onto your registration. And registration closes on Friday, so just have a few more days to make up your mind.
I'll put that link in the chat.
Thanks. And I'll just remind the luncheons that are available. There's if there's the Jekyll Island Management Institute luncheon, you don't have to be an alumni of that program. Like that, if you're interested in learning more about it, it's a good luncheon to go to, just to meet other attendees who have gone through the program. So it's not just for alumni, it's for anybody really who's interested in meeting those who have been part of it. There is a director's luncheon. It's primarily for those who are leading museums, but if you want to go to the director's luncheon and meet directors, then I'm sure that they would love to have you. The curators have a luncheon. The registrars and collections professionals through the Southeastern Registrars Association have a luncheon, and then the educators also have an affinity group luncheon. And then I also know that the Louisiana Association of Museums has they're sort of doing their business meeting. I believe that's on Monday. Jenny, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, it is going to be our annual meeting as well, luncheon. And we'll also be presenting awards to some of our Louisiana special award winners, and have some really excellent keynote speakers, two professors from LSU Baton Rouge speaking. So, if you, even just for the keynote speakers, if you have the time and you want to attend our luncheon, it's going to take place at Louisiana's Old State Capitol, which is also a really amazing place to visit. So even if you can't make the luncheon and you do find time while you're in town to see the Old State Capitol, it's a really neat place. So I recommend that either way.
Thanks, Jenny.
All right, thank you.
And if you're interested in the Lamb luncheon, the link to that is on their association website. And we will be, everyone will have an opportunity to visit the Old State Capitol on Sunday evening as part of the progressive evening events. So I'm super excited about that. Okay, just a few other things. I'm just gonna show this and I'm not gonna like walk through it because I feel like the motion will make people sick. But the Hilton does have a virtual walkthrough, which is really cool. And Heather, if she hasn't already, can put the link in the chat. So if you want to see where you're going, what the session spaces look like, and just kind of what to expect. I've played around with this a lot, and I think it's really fun. But I don't know, it just gives you a better sense of what to expect at the Hilton, and they have a lovely lobby. Um, there's the bar, which I know is always an important feature of for everybody, but we're pretty excited about this venue. All right, we talked about luncheons. For evening events and for those who are going to be going on some of our off-site tours, which we have tours going out on Sunday and then again on Wednesday afternoon, you will just meet in the lobby of the hotel to pick up that transportation. There will be a representative from Hutchinson Design Group. There will be a big SEMC sign. There will be people holding signs that say buses here. So we will do our very best to make sure that everyone gets on a bus and that we are very visible and you know where to go. So our expo hall this year, oops, sorry, go back. This is in the Riverview Ballroom and Foyer, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a future slide, but when you're looking at the schedule, you definitely want to make time to go into the expo hall and visit with all of the different industry service providers who are going to be there that could provide something your museum needs, whether it's exhibition design or collections management software or insurance. There will be reps across the board. We also have snacks and coffee throughout the day in there, as well as different receptions. So as you're looking, definitely make sure that those are part of your schedule. The evening events, we have really amazing event hosts this year. The LSU Museum of Art, the Old State Capitol Museum, Louisiana Art and Science Museum, Capitol Park Museum, the Rural Life Museum. They are hosting events for all of attendees who are interested in coming. There will be buses for all of these events. The details will be in your Feedloop app. We will have a printed program this year. For those who like a paper program, it will be there. We put a lot of work into the design of that, so make sure you check it out. The evening events, I just want to make a point of this, are very generously hosted by all of these organizations. They have raised the funds on their own. They are using their staff time to welcome everybody. It's a tough thing to do right now, to host an event in addition to everything else that a museum is trying to accomplish. And so we're so appreciative of their efforts. And in order to keep some of the costs down, you may see, there's always light bites and some sort of bar, and you may see cash bars. And it's just where we are with the cost of doing business of everything. So I just say that to encourage you to, if you feel like you want to have a drink at an evening event, make sure you have a debit card or some cash in hand, just to be prepared, really. But we try and print all of the menus of exactly what food will be where. So we're really thankful to all of the evening event hosts for providing us that information so that we can give it to you. I'm just going to say this is not dinner. These will be, light bites, a drink, and then Baton Rouge. We are trying to end these events early enough so that you can go have a more substantial dinner. There are lots of restaurants very close to the hotel, and I know that they will be willing to welcome everybody. So just putting that out there. It's probably hard to see, but this is where the majority of the conference is going to be. This is all on the first floor of the Hilton. There's the lobby. You'll go down this long hall. these are all session rooms. There's our expo. We're pretty contained this year. There's not going to be these two towers and lots of directional signs and people not knowing how to get to their session rooms. We're all going to be together, and I'm kind of excited about that. So I'm going to let Heather talk more about the actual session spaces.
All right, so this is a big part of my role as the program administrator for the Southeastern Museums Conference. I help assist the program committee to select the sessions that will be provided each year, and then provide, assign the session assignments, the rooms, the shepherds, and all of that. So this is a big part of my role here at SEMC. And as you can see, the session rooms will have everything that you're used to. If this is your first time, all the technology, everything that will be there that you need. The only thing that you need to bring as a session presenter is a way to access your PowerPoint presentation. If you are attending, the only thing that you need to think of is to bring perhaps a notebook to jot down some notes. But always, whether you're attending as a presenter or just attending, bring your business cards. Like, this is a great way to connect with others and foster connections. So just make sure you bring your business cards. Most rooms will be set in a theater style. We will have one room that will be set with round tables and chairs for our more interactive sessions. So thankfully, as Zinnia mentioned, there's no east and west. There isn't any, you're not going to have to walk 100 miles to get from session to session this year. So it will be much more contained. And the only session room that I will make a note of is our victory room. And that will be on the mezzanine level. And that does not mean the second floor. So if you have a session and you're going to the victory room, you will simply hit the M button in the elevator, and M is for mezzanine. And when you get off of the elevator, the session room is directly across the hallway. So it's really simple and easy to find. So again, thankfully, we're contained on that first floor level, with the exception of one session room on the mezzanine level. I will note that we do have a couple of workshops this year, 4 workshops that will be taking place at the LSU Museum of Art at the Shaw Center for the Arts. So if you are going to these will take place over Monday and Tuesday. So when you exit out of the main Hilton Hotel lobby, the LSU Museum of Art is directly across the street from the Hilton Hotel. It's just diagonally to your right. So you'll be able to see the museum as soon as you step outside of the building. And the entrance to the LSU Museum of Art is about halfway down the side of the building that's facing you. So you don't have to go around the building or anything like that. The exit, or the entrance and exit, is right there. And then those session room or workshops will be taking place on the 2nd and 3rd floors. So we do have a map of that on FeedLoop. So it's connected directly to the workshop. So when you click on it, you will see the map of how to get over to LSU, and then we'll, absolutely do our best with wayfinding. And again, we'll have that map available. So that's the only other additional thing that you would have to think about if you are attending one of the workshops. So just a few other things to note. As Zinnia also mentioned, we have an events team that's really great with helping out with all of our needs. If there's any technology issues, there will be a team around. So they'll have a conference t-shirt on, so they're easily identifiable and can help you with any sort of tech needs. And again, we always have a really good slate of sessions. So I know some of you like to, perhaps go into a couple of them during a session time. So if you leave early or come in late to a session, just be mindful as you enter in. Just, try to be as quiet as possible and mindful of others. And another sort of tip you could think about is to work with a colleague. If there are a couple of sessions you would like to attend, tag team with a colleague. One of you attend each, and then share your notes afterwards. So sort of divide and conquer, if you will. Each room will have a session shepherd, and this person will be there to assist both presenters and attendees find a seat or help with tech or anything like that you may need. And they will also be there to point you to fill out the session evaluations, which I will cover in a few moments. But I did want to remind you that we will have some sessions that have Zoom presenters. It's just we want to be accessible to all of our presenters, and Zoom will be an option for some. We don't have many, but if you do find yourself in a session that has a Zoom presenter, we will do everything that we can possible to make a good experience for both you, the audience, and for the Zoom presenter. So we know audio issues can be an issue. So we just want to, let you know that we're going to do everything possible to provide the necessary audio and microphones in rooms and everything. So we will make sure our rooms are accessible in every way. So I just wanted to mention the Zoom presenters. And then for the QR codes and session evaluations, I'm going to land here for just a moment because these are so important. For the past couple of meetings, we've been completely paperless. This year, we are providing a paper copy as well. So that will be an option along with the paperless option. It's just a generic evaluation. So if you do fill one of these out, just make sure you're filling out all of the information, especially the session or workshop title, so we know what you're evaluating. So you can turn those into your session shepherd when you're finished. But otherwise, as usual, we will have that QR code available to you. It will take you to a simple Google form. Just make sure you scroll down to the correct time block. So they're organized by like 9 a.m. sessions, 10:30 sessions, and so on. So they're designed to be quickly filled out. We're talking about a minute of your time. They will be active throughout the conference. So if you happen to forget to fill one out, you can always go back. There's a specific code for each day, so they will be available to you throughout the conference. However, I highly encourage you to fill them out at the end of the session. If you're anything like me, you'll just keep going and forget. So just go ahead and fill them out when the session ends. We've encouraged the presenters to include that code at the end of their PowerPoint presentation, so it's easily scannable. If you don't happen to see one at the end of a PowerPoint, the session shepherd will have the code available as well. So there's multiple ways you can get access to the code. And just, again, please fill them out because I cannot convey enough the importance of these session evaluations. Not only do they help the presenters, create, better content for next time, but they also help us at SEMC to improve our programming and provide everything that you need as a museum professional. So we use these evaluations to get ideas and create lists for suggested topics for the future conferences we'll have. We use these to create topics for virtual programming. So it's extremely important that you fill these out, and it just, helps everybody. It's a small component of the museum experience, but it has a tremendous impact. And so one last thing that I'll mention, Xenia already alluded to it, we just can't guarantee how hot or how cool these session rooms will be. So in the past, we've just experienced really inconsistency. A lot of inconsistency with some rooms being warm, some rooms being cold. So we'll try our best to work with the Hilton team to make sure everyone's comfortable, but just dress in layers so you can, adjust and adapt to the session rooms, but we'll try our best to make everyone comfortable. So
Thanks, Heather. And before we move on, just about the session, some of the rooms will have microphones. Some of them are pretty small, but if you'll just have to, find one of us if you feel like there's something in the room that, in addition, that's not there. Between SEMC staff and HDG staff, we'll get you set up. And I just wanted to point out a few things. Most everything, as Heather said, is on the first floor. This Heidelberg ballroom here that I have the little cursor on, that's on the 10th floor. That's where the plenary session is going to be. And our keynote business meeting on Wednesday, as well as the luncheon. There's, I think, 3 banks of elevators at the Hilton, and they're pretty fast. I know someone's like, who cares how fast they are? Well, it really does make a difference when you're trying to move people up and down. But so session rooms on first floor, some sessions at the LSU Museum of Art, a few general sessions in the Heidelberg room. And then also this is the mezzanine level right outside the lobby. It's literally right there. You can walk up the stairs or take an elevator up to an M level. Again, I encourage you to play around with the Hilton virtual tour. It gives a good sense of where it's going. And one other thing about the Heidelberg space on the 10th floor, that's going to be a good quiet space. This ballroom is huge, but there's a whole foyer area outside. If you need to send emails or you just want to be away and you don't feel like going back to your room, or even if you want to have a small, just one-on-one meeting, that 10th floor outside the Heidelberg room is a really lovely space. Okay, moving on, just a few special sessions to alert you to this year. For those of you who have, this will be the 3rd iteration of Table Talk. This is on Sunday evening after the evening events. It'll run from 8:30 to 10. And this is going to be, and I'm just going to go back for a minute. The space is at the Hilton. It's part of the building, but it's just right around the corner. So this 121 space, this is where Table Talk is going to be this year. So, you know, if you go out this door, the main entrance to the Hilton is just right around the corner. So it's still in the hotel, but it's kind of a cool, just extra. It has a little bit of a speakeasy feel to it. So I just wanted to point that out. But Table Talk is a really kind of interesting conversational, let's just put it all out on the table and talk to each other about our region, about the diversity of our museums, about some of the challenges that we all have. It's very direct conversation. You can just come and listen, or you can engage and / debate. Lance Wheeler and Bridget Jones and Ahmad Ward have been spearheading these conversations for the last few years, and I would encourage everybody to drop by. We'll have some snacks. We will have, you know, there'll be a bar, might do 1 drink ticket, but there's, you know, it'll be cash bar if you just want to come and join the conversation. If you want to learn more about Table Talk, there's a whole session description of it on the website. So really think you should do that. So the plenary session, this is Monday morning, and it'll start at 9 a.m. It's up at that Heidelberg ballroom. Plenaries are still new to SEMC. This is only the 2nd year that we're doing it. And it's really, it's a way for us to not only kick off our conference, we used to just kind of start. There was no like, welcome everybody, just start going to sessions. And so we started the plenary last year in Louisville, and it was really spectacular. And it was a way for representatives of local arts and culture in the city to give attendees a sense of what the city is, of what makes Baton Rouge unique, of what makes Louisiana unique. And so this year I'm super excited about our plenary panel. It's called The Intersection of Humanities, Culture, and Identity in the South. And we will have some really dynamic cultural leaders in conversation with each other about, you know, the realities of funding for arts and culture in Louisiana, and of how these communities are working together and partnering. The plenary session is really cool, and I encourage you to come. It's a good place to sort of see everybody and just get it all started. That's Monday morning. If you are new to SEMC, is this your first time coming to one of our conferences, please come to the first timers session. It is on Monday. Is it at 4:30? It's as soon as it's after the last session block. It'll only be about 30 minutes. It's me and Stacy Watson, who is with the She's now with the National Museum of African American History and Culture. She used to be at the National Quilt Museum, but we sort of do this tag team, and to just it's conversational. It's a fun place to go and just get some insiders tips and tricks about what to expect at the conference. And if you don't know anybody, it's a great place to meet people, because we'll make you meet people as part of what we're doing. But again, 30 minutes, and then we'll all walk over to the expo hall together for that opening reception. So put that on your calendar, or even if it's not your first time, come anyway. Come meet some other first timers. Our business meeting and keynote is going to be on Wednesday morning. These events are all open to everybody who has registered for the conference. The SEMC business meeting, very brief. We will elect our next slate of council officers and directors, which is always a fun time, and talk about some of our financials and programs. And then we will move on to our keynote address. This year is Brad McDonald. He is a technologist. He's out of New York. He's done a lot of work with the Smithsonian. He's done a lot of work with artificial intelligence and gaming design. And Brad's going to be there for the whole conference, which is also cool. Sometimes the keynote speakers just drop in and then they leave, and that's fine too. But he really wants to get to know us, to get to know SEMC and the attendees. So hopefully you'll get a chance to meet him before he speaks on Wednesday morning. One small change this year, we usually announce the next conference at the end of our awards luncheon. This year, we're going to do it after the keynote. It seems to make more sense to do it at an event where we'll have a much larger crowd, perhaps. So if you're interested in where SEMC is going for 2025, I can't remember what year it is, make sure that you attend that session. And then we'll end the conference, as we always do, with our awards luncheon. That will also be in that, all of these that I'm talking about, except for the first timers, will be in that Heidelberg ballroom on the 10th floor. The awards luncheon, we will recognize our competition winners and also the 4 individuals who are receiving leadership awards this year. And as part of that luncheon, I will do just a 20-minute moderated discussion with those individuals about leadership at various stages of career. So that's always a fun way to end. Just a few other on-site events to make you aware of. Our student work in museums. We have a pretty large group of students coming to the conference this year, which is exciting for us. This is the next gen, coming to meet their future employers and maybe learn how to network and jobs. These are kids who are in museum studies programs and public history and all different types. So we offer this student work in museums, like a poster presentation. And I saw Lana Burgess on there, who has been spearheading that with Katie Malone for the last few years in terms of organizing the students. I believe we have 5 students who will be presenting their posters. The image there is from last year in Baton Rouge. I really encourage everybody who is a working professional to engage with the students, to just ask them what their viewpoints are really interesting. And sometimes we get so, siloed in it all. They see it differently. So they will be with their posters. I'm not sure exactly where they're going to be yet, probably in the foyer right outside of the expo hall ballroom, but we will make sure that you see them and know about them. And then they actually have a session later in the conference as well. Those who won publication awards this year, the gold winners, we will have the display of all of those publications in the foyer outside the ballroom. So anyone who needs some inspiration and wants to see what a gold publication winner looks like for SEMC, you'll be able to check those out. We're bringing complimentary headshots back again this year. We didn't do it in Louisville. I think we just had too much going on, but this is a really good opportunity. If you need a new headshot, you don't like the one that you have, we will have a local photographer with us on Monday, the 21st, and he will be stationed in the Riverview Ballroom, where a majority of our exhibitors will be this year. I don't have the times off the top of my head. I'm starting to, Heather, do you have those, or can you put them in the chat? But there's two different time blocks. I think it's from like 10 to 1 and then from 2 to 4. So, it'll take a real quick, go get your headshot, and then that will be shared with you via email. But these are free. They are offered to everybody, and we are happy to do it. Solid Light is a really generous sponsor of the headshots this year, so definitely take advantage of those. Finally, there's a 5K fun run Tuesday morning. Anyone who wants to get up and run with the group at 7:30, it's not going to be me, I can tell you that much. But the fun run, it's just another sort of networking, just fun thing to do. If you want a t-shirt, a fun run t-shirt, then there is a $25 fee for the t-shirt, but I will tell you that money goes directly towards scholarships for next year's SEMC. And if you don't want the t-shirt, you just want to get up and run with the group around Louisville, that's cool. I know Carla will be there, right? She says that now. All right, and so we're getting to the end here. I mentioned about our Resource Expo. We have 57 different companies this year representing industries that provide museum services, as well as representatives from the Institute of Museum and Library Services, from some of the, visitor center for next year, where the conference will be. The expo hall is open Monday and Tuesday. The exhibitors will be not only in the Riverview Ballroom right outside of registration, but also in the foyer. So you're going to pass them wherever you go, from whether you're going to a session room or whether you're going into the ballroom purposefully, and they want to talk to you. And they're excited to tell you about what their products are that can help museums. And we always, we talk a little bit about this at the First Timers event, but even if you feel like maybe you're not the one who's going to make the decision about your next collection software that your museum is going to use, it's great to network with all of these people that are sort of in museum adjacent industries. I always say it's as valuable to get to know how they got to those positions, what their role is in the field. I really don't make much of a distinction. These are our members as well. These are corporate members of the Southeastern Museums Conference. So I really encourage you to take advantage of the expo hall. And just this list is also on the website, but a whole list of all the different companies that are going to be with us this year is available. And you can also find that in your printed program. So, all right, so we made it to the end. I'm going to stop the share, and I obviously couldn't see any of the chat, so I haven't seen any of the questions, but now's the time, please, if you have a specific question, just ask. Or was there anything in the chat that we missed?
I think we pretty much have been able to handle the chat questions. But again, if you have any now, you can certainly put those in the chat or ask in person.
Zinnia, I just wanted to point out that Visit Baton Rouge has been partnering with some of the museums participating to ensure that everyone has a memorable experience. We wanted to encourage everyone that the Sunday evening before the progressive receptions begin, we will be hosting a second line from the host hotel front lobby to the area where we're going to all disperse and go to the different museums. I encourage you all to Google it. It is authentic to Louisiana culture. It'll be a good time, a good way to kick off those receptions. And we will also be incorporating some live music at all of those receptions as well. So we're really looking forward to hosting you guys. You'll see signage. You'll be welcomed with open arms and smiles. So thank you so much for choosing Baton Rouge. And our office is right down the road on 3rd. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop in during your conference.
Thank you, Sarah. Um, yeah, I think the directive is to meet in the lobby at 5:30 with this for the second line on Sunday evening. So, and again, thank you for all of your support with that. One of the other things that I was thinking about too that I forgot to mention, the Hilton their restaurant does offer breakfast. It is a breakfast buffet and it's $25. So I'm just going to put that out there now, but I mean, that's a lot of food. Maybe there's some creative ways to share. Now, that being said, I did ask about other options, and right across the street, there are two different restaurants. There's Po' Boy Lloyd's and a restaurant called Hot Stuff. And I looked up those menus. You can get a breakfast sandwich for like $3. So there are lower cost options right there in the vicinity. And as Heather mentioned, we will be providing a list of all the different restaurants, including the times that they close. That's something that I think we all need to be aware of, just when planning dinner and how to integrate that with the evening events. Their Sunday evening, the events will end by 8, but that is, as Sarah mentioned, it's a progressive, so you can spend as much time as you want at all the 3 different museums are open at the same time. They will all have light bites and drinks. So that's really scheduling your time. Monday evening, we are going out to the Rural Life Museum. That is a bus ride away. So buses will take you and then bring you back. And then Tuesday night for Capitol Park Museum, it's not quite as far, but we'll have buses for that. I saw a question on there about hurricane decisions. Yes, we are keeping an eye on the weather, and we'll begin to communicate if it looks like there's any sort of potential disruption. That's the best answer I can give right in this moment. So what else did we see here? And I will say, oh, go ahead. I was recently at the American Association of State and Local History annual meeting. They were in Mobile. A hurricane was literally hitting right New Orleans during that conference. And so there was really good, I have good guidance in terms of how the communications that went out beforehand and prior. So I hope we do a good job communicating things through SEMC. It's something that's very important to me. But yes, we will continue to watch that carefully.
We've had a couple of questions about the conference app. We just want to, make note that if you try to download it now, it's not quite available. So just continue to check back.
Well, you can download it, right? It's just that the SEMC 2024 is not
right. It's just not active. Mm-hmm.
And we can send out a communication as soon as it is active. The Hutchinson Design Group is helping us with that aspect of it, but we just wanted to make everybody aware that it's a thing. All right, 12:58. Anything else that we can help you all with? And yes, we recorded this. We'll put it on the website. Heather can share it out with everyone who registered on the list if you want to share it around as well. And if you have any additional questions, please email us, Heather, Carla, or I, and we will do our best to get you answers. Okay. Well, then I guess with that, I'm going to wrap us up, close again with keeping a good thought for everyone who is in hurricane impacted areas. Know that we are keeping an eye on the weather all the time, and that we're really looking forward to welcoming all of you in Baton Rouge. And thank you for committing your time to come to this conference. There's a lot of professional development choices out there, and we really appreciate the support. So, all right. Well, with that, everybody have a good rest of the day, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Thank you, everyone.